Um, so if you're not aware, there is a course for this. So I hope that was clear in everything. So I do have a course for helping you land your first job. This is by far the best course, the most useful course for this. And of course I say that. And I want to say that to give it some legitimacy, I know a lot of you guys are early adopters. You're coming into this idea a little bit early, at least from my perspective. So I created the course about a month ago. And we have seen a ton of success on, I've got a freelancing course and I've got the landing your first job course. And let me first say that I wouldn't have created this course if I didn't think I was the best person to tell you about these concepts. This is my life. I live Salesforce. I teach people how to, not necessarily learn how to use Salesforce, but I teach people a lot more about career development and things like that. So the owner of Focus on Force, most of you guys are probably pretty aware of the company Focus on Force. And the owner, Martin Gessner, actually came across the course and he loved it so much that he is actually going to endorse it starting this weekend. So he was thrilled with it. He knows that it's valuable and he's going to be promoting this and the freelancer course worldwide. So we are very excited about that. And lucky for you, you are on a video stream that is coming before this thing goes worldwide. So hopefully you can get in on the front end and get your name in the hat and get going with these job applications before the wave that'll likely be coming, probably over the next 6 months or so. Things will start to develop. So I'm happy to have you here and I'm happy to have you right here. All right. So the other thing I want to point out is because of the success of this course and other courses, I put out this webinar, and I think I said in the webinar we would be doing 50% off or something like that. I might have said 25% off, but what happened is we actually doubled the price of the course because of how successful it's been. But that's not going to impact you at all because what we've done to mitigate that is that we had to double the price of the course. There were too many people joining for us to keep up with. And so we decided to double the price of the course because we want to be able to help people. So what that means is today we're actually going to be giving you a coupon code for 75% off. So you're actually getting 50% off the original price that you thought you were coming to look at. So we're all about transparency. We're all about honesty and definitely honoring our word. And our word was that when you come in to take a look at this course, it was going to be $100. Now it's $200. But you're going to get it for half off the original price. So you will be able to get it for $50 today. So I hope that helps show some commitment from our end, or my end, I should say. You'll hear me use the term we or our a lot. And all it is that I think of my Salesforce community as sort of my family and sort of this group that I really work with. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. But I do come from a very honest and humble perspective here. So when I talk about we, I'm really talking about all of us and what we're doing. So first off, I know we're going to talk about landing jobs today, and I think you guys are going to come away with a ton of value. So we're going to talk about landing jobs. So I know we've got a couple of questions in. I'm going to go ahead and answer those, and hopefully that will help guide us down the path of really understanding this information about how to land jobs and things like that. All right, so let's see. So I see a couple of things. Tell us about your career path to becoming a consultant. Yeah, I will happily touch on that. How long will it take to start a job as a Salesforce consultant for a beginner? All right, perfect. And is this an online course? Yes, it is. I will put a link. Actually, let me just go ahead and put a link to the course. If you want to go ahead, I know some of you guys are here to hear me talk. If you're just here for the discount, I'm going to go ahead and give that to you as well as a link to the course so that you can jump right in and go ahead and do that. So as much as I want you to hear this information, I know that some people are just here for the discount, and I want to respect that. So let me go ahead and put that in, and then you guys can, if you don't want to hang on the call and you just want to get started on the course, you can do that. So let me I'm going to paste a link, and what this link does is it already has the coupon code applied, and you will see you can get the course for $50 right here. And trust me, that is a steal. So let me know if that link doesn't work, but that should help you out a lot if you just want to jump into that. Yes, it is an online course. And what it's going to do is walk you from it's going to take you through everything you need to know and stuff you didn't even know you needed to know. And I can pretty much guarantee you that. So what it's going to do is it is going to help you create a dominant LinkedIn profile. And if you don't know, I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about, help me get my CV updated, help me get my resume updated. Are those documents important? Yes, those documents are important. Are they as important as a polished, slick, professional LinkedIn profile? Not even close. The number one thing recruiters, hiring managers, everybody's looking for, it's a perfect LinkedIn profile. This is the first time they're going to get to know you. And I know that's hard to understand, but the truth is, the first perception that potential employers are going to get of you is going to be your LinkedIn profile. So that picture that you have in your LinkedIn profile, what you say about yourself, the information they can read, number one thing. So that is what you want to really get into and make sure you're focused on. And the course is going to help you dominate that. And I can pretty well promise you that you're going to love that. Another thing is volunteer work. I know you guys have heard me preach about this before. If you've watched the YouTube channel at all, if you've seen the kind of stuff I talk about at all, volunteer work. If you're doubting volunteer work as a viable way to get experience, to land jobs, then you are missing the boat. Volunteer work is where it's at. Tools like volunteermatch.org are going to help you get into some of those volunteer opportunities. So you might be saying, okay, Brad, cool. Like, you made a YouTube video about this already. Why do I need your course? You need the course because I go into much greater detail. I actually have an email template in the course because some of you guys, and this is perfectly fine when you're early in your career, you're not quite sure how to communicate with potential employers, and you're not quite sure how to communicate with some of these volunteer, companies, some of these nonprofits, and you don't quite use the right wording, or you don't bring your message across correctly to really show them the value that you're going to bring. And that can quickly allow someone to open an email or open an application, and they quickly just kind of go, it's just another person. This is just another applicant. I want to see an applicant that doesn't look like another applicant. I want the applicant for this job. And so that volunteer section of the course is actually going to tell you some of the caveats about working with volunteer companies, like how passionate they are about their work and how you can show passion for the work they're doing, which is immediately going to make them sort of latch onto you and want to work with you. And like I said, there's an actual copy and paste email template in there where you just have to fill in the blanks, like their name, what their company does, and you just paste that in and send it, and you're good to go. So of course, you may want to adjust that a little bit based on what you're doing, but for the most part, that's what you want to do, is really show a difference for not just the volunteer companies, but for the job applications as well, right? So first off, I want to talk about that. I talk a ton about volunteering and LinkedIn on the YouTube channel. And if you're not taking that seriously, it's time to sort of step back, take a deep breath, and get serious about your LinkedIn profile, get serious about volunteering. The course is going to take you to the next level. It's basically going to do it for you. It's going to show you exactly what to do, what information to put where, copy and paste half of it in there. So it's really going to sort of hold your hand and pull you through that particular portion. I want to answer a quick question of, does this apply across all borders? All borders? I wouldn't say it applies across all borders. Now, you can work, Salesforce is a cloud-based company, so you can work on the platform from anywhere in the world, right? But I'm not naive about citizenship and pay scales in different areas, right? The United States pays very well. So if you can land a job in the United States, that's obviously huge. Now, can you land a job in the United States if you live in India or Germany or, Brazil or anywhere else? Yes, you can. But I am not an expert on work visas, how to fill out these applications correctly based on the country that you're from. So I'm going to rely on you to understand how to apply for the jobs. And if you're not, from the United States or something like that, and you don't have to only apply for jobs in the US. I mean, we have people, a lot of people from the UK using the course and having success with the course, as well as our freelancer course. So can you do it if you're not in the United States? Yeah, absolutely. But can I tell you exactly how to fill out the forms and how to get work visas and that kind of stuff? No, I'm definitely not an expert there. So yes, you can do it from anywhere, but there could be some caveats. All right. So, all right, the link works. Awesome. Thank you for that feedback. I am going to get around to talking to you about my career path. So I'll get to that, but I want to focus on landing your first job for the people who are here right now. All right. So another question about Salesforce consulting. Do they recommend solutions or actually have to implement? Okay. And if you're interested in part work and going into consultancy, is this webinar for me? So let me answer that for you real quick. Is this webinar for you if you're looking to work part-time and go into a consultancy? No, not really. This is really focused on landing your first job. Could this be a part-time job that you're landing? Yeah, this could be a part-time job that you're landing. So you can use a lot of these same concepts and strategies to land part-time jobs the same way you would a full-time job. But if you're looking at being sort of like a freelancer, independent consultant, and you're looking to take that step in your career, then we're not going to talk a whole lot about that today. But on the YouTube channel, you'll see that we did a webinar on freelancing. And I've got some content on freelancing that will talk a little bit about how to move into those positions and create that on your own. And definitely check out the freelance course. And I recognize your name. I know we've talked in the past. So that content, we're not going to talk a whole lot about today, mainly about landing your first job today. Yeah, Canada. Sorry, I left Canada out in the list. Yes, if you live in Canada, I think actually the barriers to like getting work visas and things like that are even easier if you live in Canada. But again, I'm not an expert. And I think there are more job opportunities in Canada that pay fairly well. Whereas if you look at countries like even in the UK or, specifically, I believe Italy is very low paying compared to other countries. And so I know that's one of the outliers where they just don't have high average salaries. So what I find is that when you volunteer, we are working with, the nonprofit Salesforce Pack. And I find that we get channelized just for nonprofit jobs. How do we break that? That's a good question. So when you're working for nonprofits, they get Salesforce for free through the Nonprofit Success Pack for their first 10 users. So yes, you're going to be working in the Nonprofit Success Pack a lot in these volunteer projects. But if you've spent some time in Salesforce, like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, just the typical Salesforce platform, it is like 90% the same as the nonprofit Salesforce Pack. Now, nonprofit Salesforce has some layers on top of it. It's got, it's got like the donation mechanisms, and it's got, different things for bringing in those donations or working with galas and things like that. But those are all add-ons. So not only are you on the enterprise Salesforce licensing, but it's an add-on on top of that that's actually doing things. But you're still adding fields, you're still creating custom objects, you're still updating Lightning layouts, page layouts, working with user permissioning and all of those things. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, and that shouldn't box you in. What you should be able to come to employers and do, and we talk about this in the course, is don't focus so much on that it was a volunteer job. You can talk, this is just experience that you have on your resume. There's no need to mention that it was volunteering. You don't have to supply a tax form to them when you're applying. So just put it on your resume as I worked for this company. I had these duties and these are the things that I did for them. And I was successful doing that. And hopefully you even have a letter of recommendation from those nonprofit stakeholders that are going to give you an additional leg up when you're landing your first job. So when you walk into an employer, number one, they love experience, obviously. Number two, employers tend to like people who are caring and giving and generous and passionate. And the people who are willing to volunteer are those people. So you can get a huge leg up, even if you have 3 months experience volunteering and another person has 3 months experience in a corporate job, you probably have a leg up just because not only do you have experience, but you also have a generous, character to you. So hopefully that gives some help there. What is the job market in Salesforce, Germany, Europe in general? I think the job market is actually pretty strong. Again, I'm based in the US, so the US is what I know best. I have not seen any issues with the job market in particular in the UK. However, I do know that the average salaries are a little bit lower than in the US. So can you find jobs consistently in the UK? Yes. Are they going to pay as much as in the US? Probably not. Let's see. Other than job ads, is there a strategy to find what companies use Salesforce? At times, do you assist during the first job? So, are there strategies to finding jobs outside of job postings? No, not really. There are strategies to finding volunteer projects outside of volunteer project postings, and that is included in the course. But no, the job postings, number one, that tells you that they use Salesforce as a company. Number two, that tells you that they're looking for help. So when you're looking for a full-time job, you need to rely on the job postings. In our freelancer course, we do talk about other ways to find clients, but today I do want to focus on landing your first job, not necessarily starting your freelancing or client-based, anything like that. All right. What skills I can show on my resume if I never worked with any CRM, but was working as application support? Yep. So that is a big part of updating your LinkedIn profile. And that is the first section in the course, is updating your LinkedIn profile and making it really hit home, really polished. That is one of the biggest things. And taking your work history, even if it's not Salesforce related, even if it's not IT related at all, taking that work history and molding the wording and molding the message into, imagine you were a middle school teacher. That doesn't sound like it has any relationship at all with Salesforce, right? But think about the duties that a middle school teacher has. You are building curriculums. You are building training materials effectively for the students. You are acceptance testing. Basically, you are looking at how they're scoring, how you're training, the things that they're learning, and how well they're adapting to the lessons you're teaching. And you are therefore going through this process of creating training materials. You are designing and building those training materials. You are making sure that the people who are supposed to be able to utilize those materials are having success with them. And you're going through this process. So there is a lot of overlap between something as distinct as a middle school teacher and a Salesforce administrator. Now, are you going to have Salesforce administrator knowledge? No, that's what the certification is there for. Do you have knowledge that is scalable and that you can bring across over to your Salesforce resume? Absolutely, you do. So you have to consider those things. And we do talk about how to do that properly in the course. So when we look at, so some other things that we're going to talk about are, and I'm going to gloss over this one, but in the course, we talk about what to learn next. So even when you're looking for jobs, you're going to always want to be learning. And that should be your Salesforce career forever. There is never a point where you should feel so relaxed in your knowledge that you have a job and it pays well, and so you just stop learning, or you stop trying to get another certification. That should never happen, because when that happens, there are going to be 1,000 people behind you who are going to continue learning, and they are going to pass you by, and they're going to leave you behind. So in this course, we do talk some about what is it that you should be focusing on learning next. Do you want to be a developer? Do you want to be a consultant next? Do you want to be just a dominant admin? What do you want to do? And we talk about different tracks you can follow depending on what your goals are and where you want your career to take you. The next thing we talk about in the course is, how do I find available positions and how do I apply effectively? So finding jobs is sometimes the hardest part, finding those available positions. So we talk about that. We talk about how to use LinkedIn Jobs and Indeed Jobs as our main focuses on how to find jobs, because those are the best places. Now, there is some networking involved that you can use to find jobs that may not have been posted yet, but that's really on the back end of like maybe 10% of jobs are hiding over there, but you want to go after the jobs that are right there in front of you. And the reason you want to go after those is because this course is going to show you how to separate yourself from the pack. And even though you're applying with 100 other applicants for the same job, that's okay, because you are going to be in the top 3 every time. So one of the main things is, you're applying for these jobs and maybe you have an entry-level phone call with a recruiter or a hiring manager, and hopefully you land that first interview, right? And so the number one place that people are dropping the ball right now is in the interviews. So it used to be that all of the interviews were in office. and you could go in and sort of you had the same environment as every other applicant who is interviewing. And now, because of the pandemic, a lot of things are changing, and you're going to notice a huge movement towards virtual interviews. And so that means it's kind of like this. It's me talking to you. The interviews are going to be much more like this. So what you have to do is be prepared for that. So we have an entire section dedicated to dominating interviews and specifically virtual interviews, because the amazing thing about virtual interviews is that, number one, I want you to keep in mind that these are not going away. Do you realize how much cheaper it is for clients to be able to interview potential employees online? They don't have to schedule time in the office. They don't have to come in and put on their business attire that day or sit down and be prepped. They can sit down just like this and interview you. So now that companies are getting comfortable interviewing online, I can pretty well guarantee you that is how mainstream interviewing is going to happen going forward. So keep that in mind. This is not going away. So how are you going to interview well online? So we go through all of that. And some people are like, I got this. It's no big deal. I'm just going to hop on the interview, turn on my webcam, and here I am, and I'm going to land some jobs. No way. You realize that because you are at home or wherever you are and you're doing your interview, this is an amazing opportunity for you to differentiate yourself. If you were coming into the office and sitting down at a desk in a conference room, there's no way for you to differentiate yourself. You're going to be sitting down just like every other applicant. You're going to be in your business attire. You're going to be drinking a cup of coffee or a bottle of water or whatever you have, and you're going to look like every single applicant that comes in the door for the interview. The cool thing about being on a virtual interview is now you can differentiate yourself. You can prepare. And so we talk a lot in the course about dominating this interview. Things like getting your lighting right, things like getting your camera right. I've been interviewing people lately ever since the pandemic started, and you would be amazed at how many people think they're prepared, and then they come in and their webcam doesn't work right, or there's a low battery on their computer and they have to scramble for a power cord. Their mic needs adjusted. We can't hear them. It sounds like they're in a tunnel somewhere, or it's really choppy. The dog's barking. In the background, there's a big window, so light's just glaring in and we can barely see the person. All those things are hugely distracting. Their phones are going off and ringing and things like that. And it is so distracting. And can you imagine, what if you were one of the interviewers whose setup looked just like this, and they could see you just like this, and they could hear you just like this, and your background looked perfect. It looked passionate. You came prepared. Obviously, you'd be wearing something more professional than what I'm wearing right now. But we go into that and so many other tips and things like that to help you dominate these virtual interviews. The other thing that we talk about is, things like people want to use backdrops. Another thing I've seen is like people using like the artificial beach in the background or whatever. And like when I see that, I hate to be crass, but it's like the dumbest thing. And it is so distracting, and like your face is getting buried in the ocean behind you. And then sometimes it's here and sometimes it's not. And you thought it was a cool idea and it just bombs. And it's so distracting for us. It's distracting for you. So that there's a lot of that in there, and we have to be smart about that. The other thing with interviews that we teach you is how to research a company. And I know a lot of people are probably rolling their eyes and they're going, how to research a company. I know how to research a company. I Google them and I go look at their LinkedIn page. If that's how you research a company, you just failed. Like, you failed at your opportunity, because this interview is your chance. Like, this is your shot. And if you're not prepared for it, you are throwing away your shot. So if you're walking into interviews like, hey, I know Salesforce, I've got a couple certifications, I'm going to go in there and show them what I'm all about, and then I'm going to get the job. Yeah, you're probably not going to get the job. And that is because we can teach you things like, for instance, how to actually research companies. So in this course, we actually have a template that you download that helps you to research companies correctly. And the reason why you're not researching them correctly is because you're not thinking outside the box. This is a Salesforce professional job. This is not secretary. This is not car repair person. This is Salesforce Professional. So there are differences in what you need to do to research a company and what someone else needs to do to research a company. What you need to do is understand the company's back-end processes before you ever walk into the interview, before you ever even communicate with someone from the company. You're already going to know their back end processes, how they work, and how you can help. And the way you're going to do that is sort of, it's not really a secret, but it's all sort of in the course. And it's going to show you how to actually get into the inner workings of the back end of these companies so that you can understand their processes, and you're actually going to document their processes for them. And so when you come into the interview and they say something like, hey, do you have any questions for the company? Or do you have any questions about the job? You'll be able to pull out this awesome flow document, and you'll be like, yeah, so I was looking right here, and you can do this in your virtual interview. And I was looking at your process, and it looks like, you're lacking in some areas over here. I noticed your competition is doing some things better than you are in this area. This is the expertise that I have with Salesforce that I know can help improve in these areas. And you don't always want to bash the company. You can say, hey, I did some research on your company and you're actually doing better than your competitors in these 3 areas. And so you guys are like dominating right here. And I think we can make some improvements, and I know I can help because I know Salesforce, and that's what I'm here for. But can you imagine walking into an interview with an actual document showing them their processes and being able to talk to them about what you can do in Salesforce to improve on those processes or streamline those processes more easily? No other applicant is going to be doing that, but you are. And that is going to give you a tremendous amount of support. So what happens is you've got an individual who walked in before you, and they might have a year of experience and they might have 3 certifications, but they walked in and they were cocky and they thought they were going to land the job no matter what. So they tried to answer a few questions off cuff. They didn't prepare. If they're on virtual, it doesn't look good because they're too cocky to take time to set up their space. And you walk in, you've got this nice, clean, slick looking setup. Your camera works, your computer's charged, your internet is on point, your microphone sounds good. And you walk in and you've got this flow document showing them their back-end processes and how you can improve on those. They're going to walk out of that interview amazed. They're going to think, out of everyone we interviewed, who showed up and showed this amount of focus and motivation and dedication already? If they're doing this before the interview, what are they going to do for us when they actually work here? So you're going to blow people out of the water. So I want to stop right there for a second. And I want to look over at some of the comments that we have over here. Again, I haven't looked at the comments yet, but I want to make sure you guys know I do respect your comments. I do appreciate you guys being here and commenting. But this webinar is to focus on landing your first Salesforce job. And that's what we're going to stay focused on today. So if you have some questions, you can always find me on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to talk to you there. But today we are focused on landing your first job. All right. So I see I'm a Salesforce developer. You've got your PD1 certification, working on integration using APIs. What certification should I do next? And a company is looking for only PD1, but I need more. So it looks like you have decided to go a development track, and that's perfectly fine. If anyone knows my story, I'm not a developer. I don't do development. I make well over $200,000 a year working 20 hours a week as a proficient administrator. So I am very good at being a Salesforce administrator. I am passionate about my work. I do a good job with it. And I make over 200K working part-time. So I don't do development work, but I do work with a lot of developers, and I can talk to you about that track. So it makes sense. Usually when I'm looking to hire developers for my clients, I do like to see the PD1 certification. So that is definitely what you need to start with. I also like to see the admin certification. And a lot of people are confused by that. But what it tells me is that you understand the basics of Salesforce, and therefore you're not just going to develop for everything. I see so many developers where I could say, we need to automatically create a follow-up every time an opportunity is closed won. We need to create a follow-up task and have that assigned to a certain person with a certain set of subjects and due dates and all that kind of stuff. And an admin or someone who understands Salesforce will say, hey, we can do that with a process builder, no problem. But a developer will say, all right, no problem. I need to go into the sandbox and I need to create an Apex trigger, and we're going to get that fired off, and then I'll have to push it to production with a change set and get that a test class written for that and get it into production for you. And that'll take X number of hours. And oh, by the way, if you ever need to make a change to it, you're going to have to call the developer. So that's why I love developers who are admin certified, because it tells me they know enough about the admin side of things that they're not going to over engineer every little thing. So if you are a developer and you want to be respected as a developer, I do recommend starting with your developer and administrator certification, as opposed to just spearheading the developer path. But of course, I don't believe I'm misspeaking here. There is like a PD2 certification for the platform developer too. And when you're ready to continue forward with that, get your developer 1, get your admin, and then move forward with your developer 2 certification. All right. Let's see. Want to make sure I don't miss anything here. So I see, please find me a job. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, take the course, you're going to find a job. It's not as easy as just being handed to you. So I'm a big fan of teach people to fish, don't give them fish. If I give you a job, you've got a job. If I teach you how to find jobs, you've got jobs for the rest of your life. So that is a distinction, and that's how I can help the most people. There's only so many jobs I can find and give them to people. But if I teach you how to find a job, I can give jobs to you and so many other people for a lifetime. Do you recommend that we include on LinkedIn that we are working towards the Salesforce admin certification and projected date of completion? That's a really good question. So having the admin certification or any certification gives you a huge leg up at your first job. That's a tough one because I would say there's a gray area. I would either create the perception that you, I don't want to say that you already have the certification, because I do promote honesty, but if you can create a perception that you are very knowledgeable about Salesforce, because I'm sure that you are if you're about to get your admin certification, I might focus more on what you know and what you've been learning than saying, I don't have an admin certification, because that's basically what you're announcing by saying that you're working on it. So I might focus more on talking about the things that I do know and the things that I am comfortable with and the things that I've built in Trailhead that I do have experience with, as opposed to focusing on the one thing that you don't have right now, and that's a certification. But the day you get that certification, update LinkedIn immediately, title Salesforce Certified Professional, and get that in there. Brad, in your course, do you have recordings or with interactions? Yeah, so there are videos in the course. There are a lot of videos in the course. Now, I am not video heavy, so I'm not one of those people who's going to sit in the course and talk to you for an hour about how to update your LinkedIn profile. And some people go, oh, why not? I want to hear you talk for an hour. Because I don't need to talk to you for an hour. Updating your LinkedIn profile should take 30 minutes. So if I have to talk to you for an hour about something that should take 30 minutes, then I'm not doing my job as an instructor. So I think I talk in the LinkedIn, specifically about updating your LinkedIn profile. That might be 10 or 20 minutes that I'll talk to you about that. Now, then there is text below. So there's a lot of information like tips and action items, like don't forget to do this, make sure that you focus on this. We even have downloadable content for your background images. We show you exactly how to update your profile picture so that it looks slick and professional. So there's a lot of stuff in there that doesn't have to be a video, but the content is really, it's a combination of the video and the text that is going to show you exactly what to do, exactly how to do it. There's no guesswork involved. We are laying it out for you. So all you have to do is come in, follow the steps in the course, and you're going to be ready. Let's see. As a consultant, freelance. Oh, I skipped one here. Let me make sure I don't miss anybody. All right. So I will be having an interview with a Big Four consulting firm at the end of this month. Are there any tips? Also, is working at a huge consulting firm a good first step for becoming an independent consultant? Yeah, to answer your question, working for a consulting firm is a great way to prep yourself for being an independent consultant. It'll help you get those consulting chops and sort of understand what that world is like. You don't have to go into consulting to be an independent consultant, but it can get you used to the pace of play and how quickly things move and how much you have to learn and some of the demands you're going to get from clients. Let's see, working for a big consulting firm that's a fine first step. It is a grind. It's going to grind you. You're going to work a lot of hours. You're going to learn a Would I recommend being in a big four consulting firm for the next 5 years of your life? No. I think within 3 years, if you follow the steps I outline in my course and the freelance course, really in the next couple of years, you should be landing a job making 60, 70K here in the next 6 months. And you should be moving into freelance probably in the next couple of years once you get a couple of certifications, get a little experience under your belt at that first job, work a couple of years, move into freelancing, and then you should be making 150, 250,000 easily. Or if you're like me and you really take it seriously, you could be making well over 300, maybe 400,000 doing freelancing. But I choose to work part-time. So it's sort of, it keeps my salary down in like the mid 200s. But that's because I choose to work part-time. Any tips for a big four consulting firm? I would say focus on talking to them about the certifications that you're going to get. Talk to them about how you're not complacent, that you're always learning, that you're always dedicated, that you're passionate about Salesforce. Bring up anything around how you're going to continue to grow. They love to see that you're going to continue to grow, and that you're a problem solver, that you move quickly, that you adapt, all those kind of things, because consulting is very fast paced. So you need to show them that you're fast paced and you're ready to, really get in here and give them what they need. So Hope says, as a consultant, freelance, what type of support do you have when you run into a problem that you haven't been able to solve? So when you're freelance consulting, and again, I don't want to talk too much about this, but this goes for any job. This is your first job, you're freelancing, whatever. There are situations where you're not going to know the answer. And it's okay to say you don't know. It's okay to say you're not sure how to handle that problem. And clients are okay with that. You're not some kind of like demigod who knows how to do, all the secrets of everything in the world. There are places where you may not know, but it is your job to go network, maybe ask the Trailblazer community, ask the Facebook communities, try to get some help. You might even bring someone in on the side that you may pay a few bucks to help you solve a specific problem. That's all about networking. The other thing is you're going to go back to Trailhead and try to figure this thing out. You're going to go to Google and try to figure out what's going on there. So they just have to understand that, and they will understand that some things are going to take you a little bit longer than others, and some things are going to be a challenge. And just be communicative about that and be honest and truthful about that. And that's going to get a lot more respect than you hiding it and then dropping the ball and not telling anyone. So it's always important to be transparent and be honest about your skills, but always talk to them about how you're improving and how you're going to keep learning, and you will solve this problem for them. How do you even find the back-end process? It's intriguing. Yep. So hop in the course and you will find the back-end process. I'll say one thing. I'm going to repost the link to the course because I know that was a little far back. So the coupon code is applied in this link. So I'm just going to repost that real quick. So you'll get your 75% off, and you'll be able to pick up the course for $50, which trust me, that is huge. We just upped the price to $200 because of the demand for it. However, I had already promised everyone when I created this webinar that you would get 50% off of the $100 price. So I am honoring that, and I'm backing the price down to that. So the goal is that we are going to continue expanding this course. It's going to get better and better. You have lifetime access to the course. All of the changes that I make to it are going to be included in your version. So 3 months from now, if you look up, you're going to see that the course has grown, it's improved, and it's going to get better and better. It's already amazing. People are already landing jobs. And like I said, it's only going to get better. So to answer the question of how do you find out their back-end processes? Yeah, that is one of my core strategies to dominating interviews and knocking these interviewers off their feet. Like, you will blow them away. So anyway, you have to check out the course to get that one. But it does come with a downloadable template to help you work out those processes. And it guides you through exactly what to do. Let's see. Thanks for the reply. Okay. I feel companies aren't hiring junior devs now compared to pre-COVID. Do you think it's getting better now? or it might take a few months. So things are definitely impacted, whether it's junior devs or junior admins or junior analysts or anything else. COVID has had an impact. I will say that I've noticed in the last 3 weeks specifically, it seems that companies are adapting now, and they're sort of getting comfortable with this idea that this is the way it's going to be. At the beginning, when COVID started, I think they were sort of like being hermits, and they were like pulling back, and they were saying like, whoa, let's see what happens before we hire anyone. Maybe we can go without a Salesforce developer or Salesforce administrator until this thing passes by. I think at this point, we know that the whole pandemic is going to be a managed situation over time, and that we are going to have to get comfortable with the state of things and where we are. And that goes for companies as well. So I noticed specifically, we have our Salesforce Facebook group, and I talked to a lot of people and coach people in there. And I noticed in the last 3 weeks that there has been a hiring uptick, and things seem to be coming back up. And I think that you're going to notice that that continues to grow and grow. So are you going to have to wait months? No, I don't think it's going to be months. I think you're going to notice improvements right now. And in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think you're going to notice companies really loosening up and realizing we're not going to get somebody in office. We're going to have to hire some of these remote people, and we're going to have to fill these jobs, or we're never going to fill these jobs if we wait around for the pandemic to pass. So I hope that gives you some hope. But I have noticed job hiring numbers upticking here in the last couple, 2 or 3 weeks here. All right, so coming down, when you are switching careers after 10 to 12 years of working in a different industry, do you emphasize and put your past experience in your summary? You put some of that past experience in your summary. You put applicable things in the summary. You need to focus and we talk about this in the course, you need to focus your background image, your profile picture, your title, your about section. Those all need to scream Salesforce. Like, you don't want to talk about anything but Salesforce in those sections. If you're certified in some other areas, you might put that in your about section, like after the Salesforce stuff. But when people are hiring for Salesforce positions, they are looking for someone to scream Salesforce. So they don't want to come in and say, oh, look, they have experience in 15 things that aren't Salesforce. While that's great, and it can mean they're a good employee, I want somebody who's dedicated to Salesforce. So if you have certifications, like really tangible, like certification type material you can bring to the table, okay, that can be beneficial. But don't go on and on talking about your past work history. Leave that down in the job section in your job history. You don't necessarily need it up in your title or about section or anything like that. Why isn't the course on Udemy? So I just created the course a month ago, and I really haven't had time to sort of practice with other groups, to be 100% honest with you. Udemy has a pricing program where they can do whatever they want whenever they want. Like, all of a sudden they could be giving an 80% discount on your course, even though you didn't authorize it. And so when I have courses out there, like my freelance course, it's $400 right now. And that's about to go up to $500 next month because it just got endorsed by Focus on Force. So Focus on Force is coming and saying, Brad, your course is worth way more than $400. You need to increase the price if you want us to be able to endorse this and show the true value. So when I'm looking at a course that's going to be $500 next month, and Udemy all of a sudden does a flash sale and makes it 80% off, that's unacceptable. I'm not giving over $400 off of a course that is truly worth $500. So really, it's just Udemy's like sort of salesy way that they handle things, that I like having control over. If I want to give you a 75% discount today on this course, because that's what I promised you, I'll give you a 75% discount. But Udemy shouldn't have control over giving my course away when I know this is the most valuable Salesforce career development information you are ever going to get. There's no reason we should be giving it. So what is the difference between, so I want to talk just a little bit about, also, thank you, Anne. I really appreciate that, and just the support for the course overall. And anyone who's bought any of my other courses, I hope you know that I truly, I have a lot of appreciation for that. And I respect every dollar that you guys spend, because I know that this money is hard earned. And I earn my money too. And I respect the way I spend my money. So I definitely respect the way you spend your money. So let me talk a little bit about the course before we I don't want to say finish up here because I'll keep answering questions as long as they're there, but I do want to finish telling you about the course. So we talked about how you're going to dominate interviews, how you're going to, if it's a virtual interview, how you're going to dominate that. The next thing we talk about in the course is really unconventional. And let me tell you that if you want to be conventional and you want to be like everyone else, then you are not going to land jobs any faster than anyone else, right? If you want to do the exact same stuff everyone else does, you're going to end up with the exact same result that everyone else does. So if you just continue following the standard path, you're going to go down the standard path. The standard path is not earning, $200,000 working part-time. So if you want to follow the standard path, you can cap out your income at $100,000 working a full-time job for the rest of your life. If you want to start trying some unconventional strategies and really understanding that you can break the game, I'm telling you, you can break it, you can move forward, and you can pass everyone else who's doing the standard stuff. So this is going to sound a little unconventional, but it works. So what you do is you actually want to, and we talk about this in detail in the course, just like everything else. But I talk to people and I say, hey, when you're buying a product or a service from a company, like if you're looking for some type of new service or buying a new product, a lot of times those companies will give you a 1-week trial or they'll give you a 2-week trial. That's pretty nice, right? You can test drive the product. Why do they do that? They do that because they know that what they bring to the table is so valuable that after that trial, you are going to purchase the product. They know for sure. So that is why they give you the 2-week trial, because they are determined that if you go with the trial, you're going to buy the product. So why am I talking about 2-week trials right now? Because I have been confused at why when an employer is buying a product, which is you, they are making an investment in you, a big investment. They're paying you $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 at your first job, and they are making a big investment. When have you ever made an $80,000 purchase and not wanted to know more? Or what if you could have trialed it? So that's exactly what they're doing. So what if you were able to bring a 1-week or 2-week trial to potential employers? So again, I know it sounds unconventional. You can use it if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. We have already seen a lot of success with this, and I know it sounds crazy, but we have seen success with this. And so we talk about how to implement that strategy. And really what it is you're coming out of that interview and you think, maybe that didn't go so well. I'm not sure I said the things that I wanted to say. So number one, we show you how to follow up on an interview. And once again, you're going to blow these people out of the water. So with the interview follow-up, you're not just saying, hey, thanks for your time, I hope you give me a job. That's ridiculous. That's what everybody else is doing. You're going to follow up. And we've got some more strategies on that follow-up email that are going to knock these interviewers off their feet. One of the first things is we want you following up on your interviews within 30 minutes to an hour at the most. So you're not following up tomorrow. You're not following up tonight. You're following up as soon as that interview is over. You are shutting off your webcam and you are getting your email out and you are drafting something up that is meaningful. And we already have the templates in there, once again, where you can copy it, you can paste it into your email, and you can make updates based on what you want to say, but you're going to blow them away because here's what's going to happen. Number one, we give you tips and strategies for making that follow-up email so amazing that they're going to be so impressed with what you come back with. We also have a 1-week follow-up where if you haven't heard back from them, you follow up a week later. And again, we give you an email template so that you don't have to think for yourself or figure out how to be a wordsmith. You can copy it, paste it in, update some of the little pieces of it to make it personal for you, and then send it off. But those follow-up emails are where if you're not sure the interview went well, you're not sure you did the things you wanted to do, you think they might be leaning towards another applicant, this is your last effort. This is your last chance. You can jump in and say, hey, I want to do a 2-week trial. And I want to show you, I want you to give me a week. I want you to give me 2 weeks. And I want to prove to you that I am the applicant. And like I said, it may sound a little unconventional, but if you check out the course, you're going to see that in there and you're going to start to understand why that actually works. And again, why wouldn't an employer want a 2-week trial on an investment that they're going to make? And for you, if it's the difference between landing a job and not landing a job, that could be a mistake or an addition. that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars to you. So that's pretty much where we go, is just talking about dominating the whole process. And you are going to dominate the whole process because you just learned this from someone who has been, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, I have been coaching people out of the kindness of my heart for the last 3 years. I have been helping people find jobs. Hop on the Learning Salesforce and Building Your Talent Stack Facebook group and just ask. Just say, hey, raise your hand if Bradley has helped you find a job. And was he beneficial? How did he help? Did you like working with him? And you're going to see people come out of the woodwork saying, yeah, he helped me land a job. He just helped me land a job 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, a year ago. And you will know that I've been doing this absolutely for free for the last 3 years. And then you go, well, why are you charging for it now, Brad? I'll tell you why I'm charging for it now. It is not to make a ton of money. I already make a ton of money, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or brag about that. I'm just telling you, I already make plenty of money. This is not about the money. But the thing is, when you come into this, you have to know that when I started that Facebook group, we probably had 100 members. And I could comment on every post, and I could reply to everybody who messaged me on Facebook, and I could help everybody one-on-one. But now you'll notice that the group has grown to 2,000 members, almost 3,000 members. We've got the YouTube channel now with over 3,000 subscribers. Those people are reaching out too. I've got people reaching out on LinkedIn. So I sort of took a step back and I realized I was losing the ability to help everyone one-on-one. And to be completely honest, it made me a little sad. And I was like, I remember the first post that showed up on Facebook, and I literally thought, I don't have time to respond to this. I don't have time. So what can I do? And my first thought was, I'll make a YouTube channel and I'll start making videos that I can share the link to people, and it'll help them just as much as me helping them one-on-one. So I started doing that. And then I said, oh man, they need more help. The YouTube videos are helpful and they're beneficial, but sometimes people need more, and they need a guided tour, and they need videos, and they need email templates, and they need to understand how to communicate, and they need the help to really get over that hump and dedicate and change their lives forever. How can we make this happen? And I realized I need to sit down and I need to really spend some time, and I need to make a course, and I need to help guide people through this. And when I look at this, I go, and that's what I did. And that's what I did for getting your admin certification. That's what I did for landing your first job. And that's what I did for becoming a freelance consultant. And why did I focus on those 3 areas? Because those are the 3 areas that I feel that I know best and I can help people the most. And so I focused on those 3 areas. Could I build more courses? Absolutely. But I don't feel like I am the expert in other areas. But when it comes to these 3 things and landing your first job, I am the expert. I know what I'm talking about. And I feel like I can really help people. So I focus on those areas. So the course now, you guys are getting it for $50 today. If you recommend it to friends, the price is going to go up. So the actual list price now is $200. It's probably going to go up from there. I mean, we've got people like Focus on Force who have already looked at it and they're going, Brad, this doesn't need to be $200. It needs to be more. They're looking at the freelance course. They're going, Brad, this doesn't need to be $400. It has to be more. If you check out the Talent Stacker podcast, I'm going to be the first guest on the Talent Stacker podcast, which is hosted by Jonathan Mendonza, who is he is actually the co-founder of Choose FI. They have a following of over 500,000 people. So this thing is about to really break loose, and I'm going to lose a little bit of the control, which really stinks. And I'm not going to be able to give you guys 75% discounts because I want to, because there are other people who are going to be in the mix here. Now, do I still have control? Absolutely. Over the content, it's mine, it's me. I am the expert here. But over the price that we sell this thing for, there are other players involved. Now, we are all about generosity and helping as many people as we can, but we also have to make sure that we're not giving something away for free that is hugely beneficial. So the way that I look at this, is if you've got this thing that is only $200, I mean, that is so cheap. And I know I'm biased, but it's so cheap. When you're looking at something that says, I don't know how much money you're making today, but you can land a job in the first 6 months, maybe 3 months, with this course, you're looking at a 3-month outlook. If you already have a certification, probably less. If you don't have a certification yet, you're probably looking at 3 to 6 months, and you're going to be making $60,000 to $80,000. Is that not worth $200? Like, I think it's worth a whole lot more than $200. And then when I look at the freelance course, I go, I'm trying to help people make $200,000, $300,000 a year, and I'm giving them everything that they need, and I'm selling it for $400. Is making $200,000 or $300,000 a year not worth $400? I think it is. But I don't know about you guys. So that's totally up to you guys. So anyway, I think that wraps up what we want to talk about in the Landing Your Salesforce Job course. That's everything that I've covered in the course. Like I said, lifetime access. So as it grows and as changes are made, your access to the course is going to get all of those changes. So you're in for life. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys enjoy the discount that we've given today. I hope that you recommend it to friends and family or anyone else. And keep in mind, this is not just for Salesforce enthusiasts. If you have a friend who's making minimum wage income, or they're just not happy with the way their careers are panning out, or maybe they went to college and realized that, college is one of the most expensive things you can do with one of the worst returns on investment. You can spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in college, and there's no guarantee or really any certainty that you're going to get a job at all. Or you can spend $200 right here and you have a lot of certainty that you're going to land a job with this course. So you can spend 3 months on this course and $200 and make great money in a very strong job market. Or you can go to college and spend $50,000 for 4 years and still have no idea if you're going to land a job or not. So I'll leave that decision up to you guys. But I hope that helps, and I hope that gives some guidance. Thanks everybody for joining. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. And feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. If you have any questions at all, let me know. I'm happy to respond. And I hope to see you guys all on the other side, making great money and working in your Salesforce careers. Have a good one.